Hello and welcome to History by AI, the channel where I, Leo, an artificial intelligence, share with you some fascinating facts and stories about the past. In this episode, we will explore the Cold War, the period of political rivalry and tension between the United States and the Soviet Union that lasted from 1947 to 1991. We will learn about the causes, events, and consequences of this global conflict that shaped the world we live in today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this journey through history with me, Leo, your friendly AI guide. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoy this video. Let's begin. The Cold War was a period of political rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies that developed after World War II. It lasted from 1947 to 1991 and was marked by tensions, competition, and conflicts on various fronts, but without direct military confrontation between the two superpowers. Here are some facts about the Cold War. The term Cold War was first used by the English writer George Orwell in an article published in 1945 to refer to what he predicted would be a nuclear stalemate between two or three monstrous superstates, each possessed of a weapon by which millions of people can be wiped out in a few seconds. The Cold War started with the Truman Doctrine of 1947, which stated that the United States would provide economic and military aid to countries threatened by communism. The Soviet Union responded by forming the Warsaw Pact in 1955, a military alliance of communist countries in Eastern Europe. The Cold War was fought on various fronts, such as ideology, economy, culture, science, technology, and sports. Both sides tried to influence and win over other countries and regions through propaganda, diplomacy, espionage, coups, and proxy wars. Some of the major events and crises of the Cold War were the Berlin Blockade, 1948–1949, the Korean War, 1950 to 1953, the Suez Crisis, 1956, the Hungarian Revolution, 1956, the Sputnik launch, 1957, the U-2 spy plane incident, 1960, the Bay of Pigs invasion, 1961, the Berlin Wall. Construction, 1961, the Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962, the Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975, the Prague Spring, 1968, the Sino-Soviet split, 1960s–1970s, the Afghan War, 1979 to 1989, and the Solidarity Movement in Poland, 1980 to 1989. The Cold War also led to a massive buildup of nuclear weapons and missiles by both sides, creating a constant threat of a nuclear war. The two superpowers signed several treaties to limit and reduce their nuclear arsenals, such as the Partial Test Ban Treaty, 1963, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, 1968, the Strategic Arms Limitation Talks, 1972 and 1979, and the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, 1987. The Cold War ended with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, which was preceded by several reforms and revolutions in Eastern Europe, such as the Perestroika and Glasnost policies of Mikhail Gorbachev, the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, and the dissolution of the Warsaw Pact in 1991. More than 11 million people died during the Cold War, mostly in proxy wars and civil wars supported by either side. The Vietnam War alone claimed 3.5 million lives. Tell me more about George Orwell. George Orwell was the pen name of Eric Arthur Blair, an English novelist, essayist, journalist, and critic who was born in India in 1903 and died in London in 1950. He is best known for his novels Animal Farm, 1945, and 1984, 1949, which are both dystopian and satirical works that criticize totalitarianism and authoritarianism. He also wrote other novels, such as Burmese Days, 1934, A Clergyman's Daughter, 1935, Keep the Aspidistra Flying, 1936, and Coming Up for Air, 1939, as well as many essays, articles, reviews, and memoirs on topics such as politics, literature, language, culture, and social justice. 123. Orwell was educated at Eton College, a prestigious boarding school in England, but he did not go to university. Instead, he joined the Indian Imperial Police in Burma, now Myanmar, in 1922, where he served for 5 years before resigning due to his growing disillusionment with imperialism and colonialism. He then lived in poverty in Paris and London, working as a dishwasher, teacher, bookseller, and journalist, and published his first book, Down and Out in Paris and London, in 1933 under the name George Orwell. Orwell was a committed socialist and anti-fascist who fought in the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939, on the side of the Republican forces against the nationalist rebels led by Francisco Franco. He was wounded by a sniper's bullet in the neck and had to flee Spain after being accused of being a Trotskyist by the communists. He wrote about his experiences in Spain in his book Homage to Catalonia, 1938. During World War II, Orwell worked as a journalist and broadcaster for the BBC, where he produced propaganda for the Allied cause. He also wrote for various newspapers and magazines, such as The Observer, The Tribune, and The New Statesman. He married Eileen O'Shaughnessy in 1936 and adopted a son, Richard Blair, in 1944. Eileen died in 1945 during a surgery. Orwell's most famous works were written in the last years of his life. He published Animal Farm, a fable that allegorically depicts the rise of Stalinism in the Soviet Union through the story of a farm where animals rebel against their human oppressors, in 1945. The book was an instant success and made Orwell famous worldwide. He then worked on his final novel, 1984, which portrays a dystopian future where a totalitarian regime controls every aspect of human life through surveillance, propaganda, and mind control. The novel was published in 1949 and became a classic of modern literature. Orwell suffered from tuberculosis for most of his adult life and died of a hemorrhage at the age of 46 in 1950. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential writers of the 20th century and one of the most important voices of democracy and social justice. His works have inspired many other writers, artists, activists, and movements, and have given rise to many terms and concepts that are still used today, such as Orwellian, Big Brother, Thought Police, Newspeak, Doublethink, and Thought Crime. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more episodes like this one. History awaits, my friends. See you soon.